I always tell people that I want people when they get something for me, it's like a mixture of like your mom or your dad, like packing your lunch and your favorite sandwich shop.
Welcome, everybody. I am Joe Barron, host of Market to Me, and which is presented by Branded Barron. And today, I've got Anthony Biggie Bencomo joining me, who's the owner and chief sandwich officer of Deli Fresh Threads, based out of Orlando, Florida. That's right. There's more things than just the big mouse. Biggie's entrepreneurial journey started back in the 20th century, in the year 1997, at the University of Central Florida, where he co-founded KnightMare Apparel, an officially licensed campus clothing brand. Years later, in 2013, he launched Deli Fresh Threads, a concept-driven apparel brand built around nostalgia, sandwich culture, and community. But this isn't just a t-shirt brand. Biggie has built Deli Fresh Threads around experience and community, partnering with local restaurants, hosting these great monthly SandwichEatUp events, wrapping apparel like it just came from the deli counter, and spotlighting small businesses through his podcast called Lunch with Biggie. He's been recognized by the Orlando Sentinel as one of 10 people who make Orlando a better place to live. And he's being inducted in the 2026 University of Central Florida College of Business Hall of Fame. Welcome to the show, buddy.
What's up, man? Thanks for the introduction. I haven't, it's kind of weird hearing someone else say,
Give me the intro.
Bio. Yeah, man, but I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Great. I hope I did. Did I miss anything?
No,
I want to
you
make
killed
sure.
it. You killed it.
Thank you very much. That's what I do. I just, make things and make it better. Let's get way back in the, some people might call the olden days of the late 1990s, when you created, when you were back in college, working, you came up with the KnightMare Apparel. What gave you the confidence to really start this licensed apparel brand as a student? Were you always ambitious? Was this just a perfect opportunity to release your business chops?
Yeah. So basically for me, it really kind of was, I always had ideas, and it's one of those things, how they always say, like, start a business because you find a problem. My problem was, at the time now, like, more people know who UCF is, but at the time when I went to UCF, no one knew UCF. And if you follow sports, the quarterback at the time was Dante Culpepper. He played for the Vikings and with Randy Moss and all of that. And he was our quarterback. And like, there wasn't any brands, clothing. We were just an apathetic fan base, and clothing brands sucked. And during that time, wrestling was pretty big, like NWO. And I wanted to do like a UCF version of it, and I thought it'd be fun to do. I approached a bunch of shops that sold UCF merchandise and said, hey, you guys should really make this. Here's the design. Because my roommate basically drew it up. It's a pretty simple design. And I was like, we should make this. And all I want is I just need 5 shirts for my friends. And no one wanted to make it. And so my roommate at the time was like, dude, why don't you just start it? And so I had 2 buddies. One was an accounting person. One was a one was a IT person that could do websites. And I was the marketing. And so we were like, let's just do it ourselves. And we found a license. We basically went to collegiate licensing, got a list of who could produce UCF stuff, and we just started. And it was just kind of one of those things where what the heck? It was definitely an odd time, because it was in the beginning stages of internet sales. There was online shopping was not something predominant, because a lot of people, it was so new. But we started it. We had a website, and we would sell while we would tailgate. And then it just kind of grew from there. So it wasn't anything that I kind of was like, hey, I'm always an entrepreneur, but I loved it. I loved the fact of coming up with ideas, doing stuff. I love the fact of seeing people. I still love seeing people wear the shirt. The shirt is almost 30 years old, and people are still wearing it to games, and it's just awesome to be able to see. Sometimes I'm like, where the hell did you get that? That is it still looks good. But yeah, man, it just kind of stuck with me. I loved the idea of it. I was definitely ahead of my time. We lasted 5 years, and I learned a very valuable lesson, which was, when you're doing collegiate license or collegiate apparel, if your team sucks, sure no one buys.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, make sure, I thought it was going to be make sure you get the permission from the college.
Well, that one is another one because I will say that it was a very interesting. It was interesting lessons there. That's why we knew we had to do everything like legit. We had many times we had cops go around our tent to basically almost like to take everything when we were tailgating, and then when they looked at everything and they saw that everything was like collegiately licensed and had all the stickers and had everything, I was like, dude, we're legit. Like, you just go away. I'm like, we have a business license. Like, go away. Like, you can't confiscate any of this. And a lot of it was because we wanted to try to sell inside the stadium and all this stuff. And that's when we learned big college money prevails over small alumni businesses, type of thing. But yeah, it worked out. We closed up shop. We created like a game day shirt. We were all excited. We wanted to do that. We created a game day shirt. We lost the game. So obviously we spent a lot of money on shirts. And then that same year we went 3-9, and we decided after 5 years, like, yeah, this is not going to work. We just could like shut it down. Lessons learned, obviously, when you partner with people, and then also when teams don't do well. Luckily, we shut it down at 3-9 because the following year we went perfect 0-12. And so
That was the perfect time to close it. You know, who needs an undefeated season to make money? No one needs
exactly
that.
right. No, 0-12. We didn't win a game, so I would have not
0-12.
made 0-12 like the other perfect season. Like I've experienced UCF 2 perfect seasons. I've done 0-12, and I've done like 25 at whatever. Like we had like a 20-something game winning streak. So we've had like 2 seasons of undefeated, and I've experienced at least 1 or 2 of winless seasons.
So yeah. So to say it again, definitely not a perfect time to close up shop. I don't know why I saw the other way around. I was like, yeah,
because no one ever hears perfect season that way. I think of it as funny because I'm like, well, as a fan, I could say I seen my team go perfect in both extremes.
Yeah, and that's a rare occurrence. So a few years later, it's the year 2013, and that's really when you start. That's when really when you decide to launch Deli Fresh Threads. Why did you decide to launch a new clothing brand? Obviously, this one has nothing to do with any university. This is your mindset, all in your brains, and you decided like, hey, I want to go about it. And like, and what made you do it differently than from the first time?
So I definitely knew I like being niche. Like I definitely knew I liked the small communities. Like UCF, obviously, like it was a college brand only for those. I knew I liked that. The reason I started it was really because I was corporate life. I worked like it was like 9 years of working in a corporate. I was like around that time I was 9 years on the same corporate job, and I told my wife, I was like, listen, I'm like, I like what I do, but I'm a creative person. I like being able to do things, and every day that I don't get to do something creative, I feel like I'm dying inside. Like everything else in my life is good. Married life is good. Family life is good. I'm like, I'm glad I have a job, and but I need to do something. And so then she was like, well, if, what do you want to do? And she knew when we were dating, like she knew like there was a time when she knew that I had a clothing brand and she knew that it brought me joy. So she's like, well, why don't you do t-shirts again? And I was like, oh, maybe. And then I was like, well, she's like, what would you do if you won the lottery? Like that was always her question. Like, what would you do if you won the lottery? And I said, I don't know. If money wasn't an object and I could do a lottery and I wouldn't have to think about it, maybe I definitely would do something sandwich related. So then I kind of was like, oh, what if I sandwich both ideas? My love of sandwiches, clothing brand. Obviously, at the time, I had met already Johnny Cupcakes. I had met Johnny, and I had heard him speaking. I had been reading books about Gary Vaynerchuk, talking about like mastering, crushing it, and like being the SME of something that you're passionate about and that you love. And so I was like, I'm obsessed with sandwiches. Like I wanna like people to this day that knew me in college saw me in some classes when I would do presentations and still remember a sandwich concept that I have from college. I mean, which is kind of nuts that people would still think about it, but it's because of that's how passionate I was. And so I kind of was like, you know what? I'm like, why can't I do a sandwich themed brand? Like I'm like, there's two channels of that do basically food. Over 300 million sandwiches are consumed a day. I'm like, there's obviously a love for it. So I was just like, why not? Let's just create a sandwich clothing brand. No one else is doing it.
You're branded as the sandwich guy, but why the sandwich? What makes it the king of meals?
So I think, well, for me, I say obviously you could have it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and dessert. I do think that as I've gotten older, I think it's because, when you like, as I start like thinking back, I think it's because my parents didn't really give me sandwiches as a kid. I think that's, I think that kind of played a factor in this, like where sandwiches, like my parents were like, oh, yeah, sandwich. Yeah, that's like a lunch thing, or we're going somewhere on a trip, we'll pack a sandwich, but it was never like a thing. So I think because I didn't have it, I think it's like I enjoyed it, or I appreciated it that much more. And then once I got older and I was in college, I was like, yeah, sandwiches, let's do it. So I think that plays a factor into it. But I do think that out of the handhelds, you could have it for breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert. I mean, you really can't go wrong with a sandwich.
Yeah, it's true. You could have an egg sandwich. You could have a actual peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you could have a steak sandwich for dinner.
Yep.
All right, like see, it hits all the hits
S'mores. You can
all
have s'mores. You can have
s'mores.
Oreos. Ice cream sandwich.
Ooh, Oreos. I didn't want to get too early into what's a sandwich or what's not. State your case on why an Oreo is a sandwich.
Well, one, it says it's called a sandwich. It's called sandwich cream cookies. Is one of them. There are cookies and cream in the middle. So I know a lot of people. This is one of those things where I will preface this from the very beginning, because obviously I have to stand on a soapbox on certain topics. However, I will say this: handheld foods are the best foods of all. Out of all the meals, handhelds are the best. I don't care if you think a shawarma, gyro, hot dog is a sandwich. I don't consider them technically sandwiches. Consider them more like a different, like a hot dog's a whole different animal, but like those type of things, I don't consider them a sandwich. But if you think they're a sandwich and you enjoy them, then I say enjoy the food. At the end of the day, I just enjoying good food. But in my world, I do think like a s'more, an ice cream sandwich, an Oreo is considered a sandwich. Obviously, I know the idea of it being layered in between two things. And then I know that I've heard many things through I've been doing this for 13 years. So I've heard many people come at me with one thing or another when it comes to sandwich conversation. It's like a very interesting thing that I'm usually very like Switzerland, but this is like one of those where I'm like, let's go, let's talk about
Come
it.
at me, bro. Well, I mean,
Pretty much.
the ice cream sandwich is clearly labeled that. And I think if the Oreo says that's a sandwich,
Well, I mean,
then
do you not think, what would you
empty.
call that though? I mean, it's a cookie, but it is a cookie sandwich.
I would just call it I would just call it a cookie. I think it's just a special kind of cookie.
Okay.
I wouldn't think of. I mean, now I stand corrected, so I'm wrong.
Oh, I mean, the packaging
If
says it. The
Nabisco,
package,
exactly.
yeah.
If Nabisco says it, then that's what it is. It's a cookie sandwich. I'm not going to argue that. Like,
And it's addictive, so it doesn't help.
oh yeah, no, it's really bad, but it's really tasty. Sandwiches are a great thing. They bring back a bunch of nostalgia, when you're a kid or not, or you're an adult or in college or whatever. There's a nostalgic atmosphere to it. Did you at first when you started it, did you think that this would be like a long-term brand and you'd build this whole universe? Or it was just like, hey, I just need to be creative because if I had $1 million or won the lottery or whatever it is, this is what I would do. Was that it? Or were you thinking long-term?
No, I didn't actually never really thought long term. Like I pretty much looked at it as this is a creative outlet that will allow me to do stuff. And I've kind of always used it that way where I knew I had something because of the fact that I spent like, even though I officially started in 2013, from like 2012, I was literally working on stuff, like figuring out what brand of shirt I was going to use, how I was going to wrap the shirt, how I was going to pack the shirt, how I was going to mail the shirt. Like I wanted to be different. I didn't want everything to be the same. So for me, it was more of a creative branding, creative whole aspect of it. I didn't really think to myself, I'd be still doing it 13 years later. It just happens to be that I still have ideas. It keeps making money where I basically can keep producing things, and I just kind of and ideas just keep coming to me, and I just keep rolling with it, and the opportunities keep coming from it. So it's kind of one of those where I'm like, yes, I just say yes to the abundance and keep going with it.
You did everything from the beginning properly, all the research, but it's just kind of funny that you never thought about it long term, even though you did everything correctly. So it's interesting to see that you're keeping the momentum going, and that momentum is just still driving you and fulfilling you moving forward. But I do have a question regarding, I mean, this is a conversation, so I'm going to have some questions naturally. The sandwich it's a concept driven brand, right? You have Biggie bread. That's your mascot. How do you keep this sandwich theme from feeling gimmicky? Because it feels like you could cycle through them, but you want to you're being creative, and it's always interesting. It seems like it would be tough to come up with new ideas or think differently, put a different twist, your own twist on it.
I think, I mean, obviously there is like a gimmicky aspect to it because my shirts do come wrapped like a sandwich, the whole gimmick aspect or branding aspect of it. I think for
Well, no,
me,
I
what
think I don't think that. I think that's part of the branding, the packaging. I don't think
correct.
that's gimmicky. I think it's smartly done. I wouldn't discredit that, and I'm not discrediting the
No, no.
brand or
And
the
I don't
sandwich
take it
name.
that way at all. Just so you know, I
Okay.
don't take that away at all. But because I do think, listen, like my brand is not for everyone because it is a niche thing. Like either you either like graphic tees or don't like graphic tees, especially if you want to wear something that is sandwich themed on a shirt. So I mean, I understand that, especially when I do markets. I know I'm not for everyone, but I think for me, one of the things that I've kind of been able to do is that I've kind of looked at it as a lot of times when people look at certain like their customer base, I look at it the same way as like sandwich base. Like everyone eats sandwiches. So therefore, I can make a variety of different shirts, whether it's cartoon graphic-y, more of the simple minimalistic version of it, or it
Hmm.
could be more of kind of like, so I have like such a huge aperture of like being able to do it. Just like a sandwich is like a blank canvas, same idea is how I look at it when it comes to doing like designs. That's the reason why I think why the ideas have not run out of me, because I either have a crazy little dad pun or I want to do something as simple like as the word sandwich on a shirt, just because I think there's so many different areas. So that I think for me, that's the big reason why I've been able to kind of do this for so long. And I think it's also because I'm passionate about it and I have a love for it. I think if I like sometimes when people come up with something because they want to make money, it's very easy for the ideas to run dry. But when it's something that I'm this passionate about and I love, like I have constant ideas. Like I wish I had more money and I wish I had more opportunities to just like make everything that I want in my head and just do it. And sometimes when I've done it, it's backfired on me because I'm like, I have second thoughts afterwards and be like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have made that a design. I just spent money on a design. Now I'm going to just make it a sticker. I'm not going to put it on as a shirt, and things like that. But for the most part, like that's kind of, I think, why it hasn't become gimmicky. And I think other reason being is I think people who interact with me when they see me at a market and they see this, like I talk the talk because because I talk what I eat. You know what I mean? Like, and those are the things I love. And so like, it's something, one of those things like people realize like, oh, this guy's like he's a little too sandwich obsessed. But it's because I love it. I just think it's a fun topic and it's something that for the most part, everyone enjoys.
That's always fun. You don't put your foot in your mouth; you put sandwiches in your mouth.
I put my sandwich in my mouth.
Because we were talking about everything being gimmicky in your packaging. I don't think it's gimmicky at all. Your hot take. I've asked you before we recorded was what was your hot take? Your hot take was don't just put a shirt in a poly mailer. Now, what made you realize that packaging was important for your branding and marketing?
For me, so when I first started, my whole thought process was there is something special about like I mean I think something like, and obviously I'm not saying I'm to this level because mine is just paper, but it's like when you think about it, like I still keep my Apple like iPad box, my MacBook box, like I keep all those things. There's certain boxes that you just keep packaging wise, but so that was one aspect of it. The second part of it is this: the reason I do what I do and my thought process behind it the whole time was always, I always tell people that I want people when they get something for me, it's like a mixture of like your mom or your dad like packing your lunch and your favorite sandwich shop. So like that was kind of like the thought process. I also do it because I know that I'm a niche brand and I'm a clothing brand and people can spend their money on a variety of different things. So I want them to understand how special it is when they buy something for me, that I am actually taking the time to wrap it like a sandwich, wrap in like the sandwich wrap paperwork and all that stuff, and put it in a bag, hand write a deli note, put it in. So like when they pull out a box out of the thing, they're actually pulling out a bagged lunch. And I did that because I feel like as big as, even if when I blow up and this brand blows up, I will somehow figure out ways of keeping it where there's going to be certain elements of my brand that still make people realize, hey, I appreciate you spending your hard-earned money for my sandwich shirt. And it just kind of bothers me when I see brands, all brands, majority of brands, literally, and I get it, it's big business. You throw it in there, throw a poly mailer. Hell, sometimes they just throw the invoice, and they may even throw like the little wrapper, the little thing, the sticky part that goes into the poly
Yeah.
mailer, shove it into the bag so they don't waste anything, close it up and throw it over. Not even a note that says thank you or, I think you're a big deal. Nothing. No love, no love. And so for me, I just feel like I'm a small brand. I should be able to give you that the little extra love that you're not getting from big big corporate companies. You're going to get it from me. And that's the reason why I get so many repeat buyers and so many people that realize like, oh crap, during the holidays, I can order a shirt for my friend and have it literally mailed with a note that says it and everything on it, rather than the Amazon little paper that says, hey, Joe thought you'd enjoy this. Instead, it's actually a handwritten note that says, hey, Joe thought you'd enjoy a Philly cheesesteak from me. Enjoy it. And then there's like a Philly cheesesteak sandwich inside the thing. So I think to me, that's the reason why I kind of have it like at least put a little extra effort in it, man. We're all charging a lot of money for stuff, and your people are paying for shipping and everything. Give them a little extra. Give them more than just a sticker, more than just a little poly mailer. Give them, even if it is a poly mailer, make it look cool, or at least have like, I don't know, add some extra stuff or a handwritten note or something in it.
So you want the experience, someone to really feel that this is something special. It also brings back that memory of like, hey, school lunch or camping, and that alone, you're providing an experience. That's really
the key
the
at
main
the end
goal.
of the day. At the end of the day, whether I do it in person or I do it online, in person, if you buy something from me, I'm taking a picture of you because I want to then share it with everyone. Because to me, I think it's special that you're buying a bag lunch and you're holding a bag with my stuff in it. I think it's awesome. It's also a great remembrance for me whenever I have those moments of like, dude, my brand, like, what the hell am I doing? I can go back and look at thousands of pictures of people buying from me and seeing like, okay, I'm doing something. But yeah, it's definitely an experience. And I think that's the thing that people remember the most about it. Like when people tell you, hey, I still got my handwritten note on my refrigerator, like that means a lot to me because I'm handwriting that. I'm not just like printing it. I'm just not writing it and getting it printed out. It's like literally legit.
I have your note right here that you sent me. Just don't want to, cover it because it's personal, baby.
Thanks.
So pretty much you're intentional with how you're designing these moments, because you're not just designing products, you're designing the moments for people to be like, hey, this is a memorable brand. I think especially for smaller brands or small brands, I think the bigger it goes, it becomes a little bit more difficult. From then you would have to create some sort of big event, big sort of activation, something where you kind of group everybody together, where you have the money to really throw down and provide really cool goodies. But as a small brand, that's really what separates you from others. And I think that there's a lesson to be learned about that, because you mentioned Johnny Cupcakes, and he's notorious for doing this stuff in a good way, notoriously positive. Yeah. So it seems like you're both cut from the same cloth. I'm just trying to providing an experience. And I think a lot of that is important when it comes to any type of brand where you're selling a product to an individual. You want to create something that like really stands out and something that's pretty cool.
So what stays within your lane? What's in your brand? What are you trying to do that actually, like, what makes you stand out? What does it stick with what it is? Even like your accessories should match with what your brand or your niche is about. I mean, I think it all plays. It's easier to talk the talk when you're showing the products or everything is kind of doing that aspect of it. And I think that's so important because I don't know. I think people appreciate the little details. And even if they don't appreciate it, I know I appreciate it and some people do, but it's always a tough one, right? Because you're going to have some people that are just going to gloss it over. And then you're going to have the other ones that go, oh, wow, that's really cool that he does these things. And others are going to be like, yeah, I don't really care. And it's okay. But for me, I care. So, and that's the reason why I do it.
I feel like there's a lot more people that really appreciate the little stuff, that these Easter eggs, than people who don't. I mean, and even if they don't care for it, they acknowledge it. They acknowledge it before they throw it away. You can't not to when something is an experience, especially if you're buying what you want to wear, something where you don't have to spend your money on. You can spend it on something else, like a sandwich to feed your tummy. It's all about part of the experience. It's so intentional and so important for brands, especially startups and small brands, to really provide something. And then you're providing that to a community, which is fantastic. You find a ways to be part of the community, be part of the city of Orlando. People say you're the top 10 people to be there. So that's awesome. So you came up with these SandwichEatUp events. What was the idea?
The idea came from because obviously the first thing is you kind of said like, and I'll admit, like I'm kind of backwards in the sense of like how when you even said like 5-year plan or plans, like I'm backwards. Like a lot of people usually will be a sandwich shop and then they start doing merch, but I'm actually merch and I don't sell any sandwiches. But what happens is everyone then would see pictures of me with sandwiches and me wearing shirts and they're like, well, where's your sandwich shop? And I was like, I don't have one. And so then people were like, well, where do you get a sandwich at? And so then I thought to myself, I'm like, listen, I'm a small business. What if I help another small business? business? Like, what if I then create an event where every month I tell people where I'm going to go eat a sandwich at? Kind of like I don't tell people I'm an influencer because I'm not. I'm just a sandwich lover, and I basically was and who loves to support small business. So I basically kind of go the route of I just started doing it and then going, hey, every month we're going to go eat a sandwich at a sandwich shop, and it's going to be during the middle of the week when they're not as busy because that's when they need the business, and we're all going to just go and we're going to go eat sandwiches. And then that way you get to eat at a place that you've maybe never went to, but because I'm telling you it's good and I eat there, you'll probably enjoy it or at least take a chance.
So were they just, you didn't sell any merch? It was just like,
No,
hey, we're just gonna hang out.
I didn't
and just
sell
meet
any
up?
merch. I sold no merch. This is why I jokingly sometimes will say, I should stop saying it because I say I'm bad at business, because I literally wanted people to see that I was building community. And like I wasn't there for that. Like I had stickers, and I knew that if they were going to, I do enough pop-ups and show up around town. If you wanted to, I had people towards the end, like at the end, or I would have people like, hey, if I order, I'd be like, yeah, order, I'll bring it to the event. But I never actually ever sold anything. I just gave away stickers and stuff like that. But my whole idea was, let's support this other brand. Let's go eat sandwiches together. Let's have a community outing together and support another business.
Interesting. I always thought you partnered with the business.
I did partner with the business. I partnered with the business because they knew I was coming. They knew I was bringing the thunder and I was bringing people, but I never sold anything at those events. Like I never had a table. And the reason I did that also was because I'm by myself. So I didn't have anyone to like man a table for me. And I wanted to actually I didn't want to be there and just be like, hey, I created this event and I'm just standing here next to my merch. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to actually be with the people. So like I actually would eat with them and be able to just kind of hang out and do that. And then that's kind of how I built community. And I did it for 5 years every month. So I did over 60 of them. I did 5 years of it. COVID obviously kind of killed everything towards the end, and I kind of just stopped. I haven't come back to it yet because it's one of those where I'm trying to figure out how there are positives and negatives to doing events, especially if you're doing it and you're not selling anything at it. And then at the other part of it is, I noticed that sometimes small businesses weren't understanding what the concept was, in the sense that,
what do you mean?
So like I looked at it as, this is a marketing opportunity for two different small businesses.
Okay.
You market to your people, I market to my people. Together, we now have there's like a nice blend, right? You're sandwich eaters going to a sandwich shop, sandwich eaters wear sandwich merch type of thing. And so I thought it would work that way. But what was happening was, some of these small businesses are so small, they weren't really marketing it. Like they would share, like, like the typical, I'll retweet it or I'll share it, but they wouldn't actually like, I would put a poster in the place, but they weren't really actually taking it. And a lot of it is because they're small businesses. They don't have marketing time to do their own thing or to celebrate it. So it was a little bit harder. So like the ones that obviously did really well and supported me and marketed it, and where I was now seeing people that didn't even know who I was, but were there because they're like, hey, I heard about you and I heard we're going to eat sandwiches. I wanted to come. It's energizing. But when you're the one bringing all the people all the time, it does get to a point where you're kind of like, okay, something's broken here. I need to figure out a way of doing this where it works for both of us, because right now it's working for you and not for me.
Got it. So that's a whole positioning issue. You're not
correct.
So you're not really partnering with them as I
I'm
guess
partnering in the
way.
sense that they're like, yeah, well, we love for you to come eat at my sandwich shop, Biggie, and bring all the people and fill the shop up. But I wasn't getting any, I wasn't like,
that's
maybe
a one-way
occasionally
street.
I get a free sandwich out of it, but that wasn't even like what I was trying to pull. I was trying to pull like, give me your people. Like I want your people to meet me, because if you meet me and you see the other people, like, yeah, like it was awesome. By the time I got to the very last one, the one that killed, like I finished off and I was like, okay, I'm done. I think this is my finish line. I did what I needed to do. I did it on National Sandwich Day. So November 3rd, I did it on National Sandwich Day. I did a sandwich walking tour. So basically we did a SandwichEatUp. We went to 4 places. I got the proclamation of the city saying that Orlando is National Sandwich Day on National Sandwich Day. And we ate at 4 different places. And I worked with all 4 restaurants. They came up with like a walking Biggie, a SandwichEatUp version where it was either like a half a sandwich or a junior, or they could order whatever they wanted. But we literally ate every hour. We were going to a different place. So we would be at every hour. We would be at somewhere different. We would walk. It was like about a mile walk in a circle. And we did that. And when I finished that and I had like so many people. I probably had about 80 people come to the event, which is awesome for just doing a walking. I didn't charge anybody anything. It was literally like, we're just doing this. And they literally walked it. And then when I finished, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done until I can figure out a better iteration of this. I think I'm done. I'm kind of I'm burnt out a little bit on this. And I was like, okay, this is a good way to end on a high note.
Definitely a high note. There's a couple things to like off the top. I think what you could do if you decide to do in the future is definitely find the businesses that are really interested in your brand or know, and partner with them, have them make an exclusive Deli Fresh Threads that they can sell there all the time, and maybe do some sort of consignment, or they buy it out from you. But something so it's memorable. I think something that you should be able to hand out, even if you do stickers, custom stickers, Biggie's sandwich walkout or whatever. The fact that people weren't understanding it was meaning that somehow the approach wasn't presented in a way.
It was really the businesses weren't understanding it. It was the people were understanding it, because I had constant regulars that were like, "I'll see you next month," and they would
so
keep
you had
coming.
The people, so the fans
people,
knew
yeah,
it.
the people was not the
That's
problem.
Not a problem. It was
yeah,
the problem.
It was more
the
the business aspect of it, where I was like, I basically kept going, "Hey, you need to share it. Hey, you're doing this." But they had no skin in the game. So it was like, I mean, they appreciated obviously the business, and that was kind of where I was at, trying to build that community. But I am a business, and I should be making, not that I'm trying to make money off of this, but I should be getting some form of, hey, at least these people, like, it was always, I've never been here before. It was always those people, like, I've never been here before, but I'm here because of you. And it was never like, hey, I'm a regular and I'm now introduced to you. It was never that aspect of it, which is what I wanted. I wanted to pack the place, but I wanted it to pack with not just my people, but all the people, which is always a learning experience. It is something that I do think I want to bring back. I just need to figure out how I'm going to do it. What's the best approach for it?
It's funny. I was having a conversation about that literally before, about marketing to a small core group of people. And the conversation was pretty much talking about, like, that's where everything's headed marketing wise. So you kind of tapped into it. Now, especially with your fans in particular, I think you might have to actually have an exclusive design and t-shirt for these sandwich meetups. Like, it could be the same one. You could do different color blanks if you really want to, just to switch it up a bit. But the point is that if you have your super fans, the people who are ride or die for you, they will buy, they will go with you, they'll hang out with you. And, it's nice to have something special to remember that, aside from a picture or aside from a chat that you may have talked, like, oh, we spoke about the magic and how that influenced this new design coming up, but just change it up. I think you do have to add some monetary value now to it. Even if you don't partner with a restaurant and create some sort of custom event, you could do some sort of like, hey, if you guys are coming to the event, it's free as always, but if you want to participate, I'll have these shirts. You can buy it now, and I'll have them ready for you that day. So it's just thinking about it. It's just different ideas. I'm just spitballing, obviously.
No, I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah, and that's something that I've been thinking about, trying to figure out, like, how can I do it where it's worth my while at the same time?
It's about
because it is a lot of work.
Yeah,
a lot of work promoting and trying to get it out and doing those things. And we create I had a poster that I would put up in every single location. It's also strategically trying to figure out places, because, like, how do I figure out how many people you can actually hold? Some places are super tiny, that you're like, I just can't do an event here because there's not enough room for it. Because, I mean, I was getting to the point where I was getting to like 20, 40 people to come on a Tuesday or a Wednesday to go to a sandwich shop. If
you do it again, I think you definitely do one of the popular spots that really knows about you, that likes you. Maybe you could do some sort of partnership, because especially you haven't done it in a while. When you do it, make sure that place has the capacity, because they're going to come. The fans are going to come hard, and then hopefully they have their regulars too show up. But create something special. It's all about, like, creating that token that they'll always remember.
The experience part, like you mentioned.
Exactly. It's the word I couldn't figure out at the moment.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Because you are providing the experience. That's what it is. It's the whole atmosphere. Good food, good shirts, good people, good conversation equals a good experience. Expand from that. So that's exciting. I mean,
It's something that I have thought of doing, like just incorporating this year of going into these sandwich shops and just popping up and selling at them just like as a pop-up. That's something that I've thought of just to try to find like more inexpensive places where I can do a small version of a pop-up. That is something that I've thought of doing this year just to kind of change it up a little bit. But no, I never sold at them. And that was always an interesting aspect of it where a lot of people always ask like, you don't sell at these events? And I was like, no. But I do think that that's also what helped because at least in the beginning, because it was like, hey, this guy just wants to eat sandwiches and talk. And I loved it. I loved the camaraderie of people that I met and all the different relationships. And some did lead to obviously people buying, but it also led to a lot of people talking about me and telling everybody about me.
And were you able to build on that? Like, were you able to,
Yeah.
Are you still like cool with people
and
that
that's
you met
kind of
there?
where it is. I mean, that's kind of how I've been able to do how I've built where I've built. I really do think that all these things kind of like perpetually, it's almost like you're building a Dagwood sandwich. It's like you're building all these different layers of flavors, all these different experiences and things that I do. I do it because out of genuine, like I want to support other small businesses and I want to share those small businesses. And I know that whatever positive karma is going to come back to me, I don't do it in the sense of like, I'm doing this to make a sale. I'm doing it because this is what I think should be happening and we should be doing. And I know sales will come from it eventually. And that's kind of how I built it. I mean, I think that's kind of how it's gone from me doing Sandwich Eat Up events, promoting different small businesses, to me then going, hey, I know so many small businesses and so many vendors because of all the pop-up events I do. I really think I have a voice where I have enough where I can maybe create a podcast to kind of share their stories. And that's what kind of led me to go to lunch with Biggie and doing those things. And I think that's the reason why people have seen that. Everyone's version of success is different. I will say I'm not banking in the sense of like, I know I'm a successful clothing brand, one, because I'm still here and others are not. But I also know I'm a successful clothing brand because of the fact that I've created a community of what I've done where people now recognize, hey, this is like a brand that's actually trying to support Central Florida and the businesses around Central Florida. And I think that's the reason why I was recognized in the paper. It wasn't because I'm like, I was 2023's whatever, 10 person that make Orlando better. That's a nominated thing. Same thing for me being into the College Hall of Fame. All these things are things that I may possibly have never thought because by the definition of success, but it's because people have seen what I've created. And it's because of these layers that I've done. And because I keep saying yes to the opportunities of building on it. And I think that's such an important part of like, I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in what I'm creating. I believe that all of us can all support one another and all build and grow. And I think that's kind of one of the big areas of where I've kind of always led me to things. And I think that's why I kind of instead of using my energy to do Sandwich Eat-Ups, I always think it was like, hey, I'm going to do podcasts because this way, at least now it's scratching a few of my itches because I'm already curious enough as it is on all these vendors and I never get to talk to them. So selfishly, I get to learn from them and also hear their story and also share their story. So it's like everyone wins.
Well, how has that, creating your podcast, Lunch with Biggie, how has that strengthened your brand, your apparel brand? Like, were you able to was there anything coming back towards you, or was it just all just give? Because again, it's important to connect with people and learn and everything. I mean,
but you got to get
these conversations is great. Yeah. Yes,
I will say that I have gotten something out of it. Like these things have created a lot of awareness, partnerships. Like a perfect example, I have a sandwich that I created at a sandwich shop at a place called Gnarly Barley, a sandwich. It's called Biggie's Bomb Me. I knew the owners, and the whole thing about it was, though, I literally, because of the podcast, me talking to them led to then me having that sidebar conversation after going, hey, what about this? Have you ever done this? And they're like, no, I've never done that. I'm like, hey, I got the sandwich idea that I make at home. Can we make it for you? And then all of a sudden it kind of led to something else. So like, I've noticed that like the podcast has led to either me talking to someone to then later on, all of a sudden now it leads me to someone else. There's direct connectivity to all these people. Not to mention, I also love the fact that sometimes I see my guests connecting because they learned about one to the other. So for me, I do get I get something out of it in the sense of like, there are opportunities that have arisen because of the podcast, because of the fact that they know who I am, or because it's led to something, whether it's me speaking somewhere. Like a great example, I literally just spoke at a college. It was Daytona State College. I had never been there, didn't even know where it was. And I basically met them because I had this organization on my podcast and called Empower that has a race called Stuff Your Face Race. So it was a food related race where they basically do a 5K and they eat every like mile. They have to eat something. And
Man.
I was on there and I was like, wow, I'm like, this is really an interesting topic. And talking with them, they're like, hey, we love you. Would you want to have, like, they basically then go, hey, we have about 500 runners. Would you be interested in giving like stickers as like a marketing? And I was like, yeah. And then they're like, would you care to sell at the event? And I was like, okay. And they're like, you could sell. And I go, do I have to pay anything? I'm like, I don't really have much money. And they're like, no, you don't have to pay. We'll let you just sell at the event. And it's a race. So I know I'm not expecting much out of it. But when I was there, I did sell some stuff. And at the same time, the guy next to me worked at a bank. You just never know who you're going to talk to. Worked at a bank, and I told him my story, and he's like, dude, your story's awesome. He's like, I love the fact that you're like, what you're doing. He's like, do you ever talk at universities? And I was like, yeah, I've talked at Full Sail. I talked at UCF. They're like, would you talk at this school? And then next thing I know, I'm now in a round table with speaking to students. You just never know where things are going to go. And I just kind of look at it as all abundance, and I'm abundant in gratitude, and like opportunities are everywhere. It just depends on how you look at it. And sometimes you may not see it initially, but it does come. It just kind of varies on how it's going to come.
It's just so random. It just shows up when you least
It
expect
shows
it,
up.
seems like.
And that's kind of how I've looked at it. And that's kind of how I've taken this journey with it. Perfect example. I got to speak at Creative Mornings, right? Like I would have never thought I would have had, like I got to speak at Creative Mornings. The word was threads. And basically the word thread, like the guy who runs it, Vic, he was like, I thought of you. You were the first person I thought of. And I was like, okay, cool. And I was like, who would have thought I would have spoke on it? But guess what? It's because of the fact that I've done so many different things and I've said yes, and it stays within my brand. It stays on the course. And at the same time, they see people are talking about me because of the fact that I do so many different things. And it just kind of like, I don't know, it just keeps coming. And that's the reason why a lot of times, even now, I just look at it as abundance. It just keeps coming. And I'm just like, let's go, because I know something big is going to happen with either the brand, the podcast, both. And I'm just kind of like, let's just go with it.
So using that, doing sandwich meetups, having the podcast, talking, that's marketing to some degree, right? That's really what it is. We all know that.
Yeah.
But what's like one marketing strategy that consistently works for you, other than being a nice guy?
The marketing strategy, obviously, my content, creating sandwich content, stays on brand. Selling at markets is a huge one, because of the fact that doing the pop-ups, being there in person, I think is a huge area. I think we're people are craving and starving right now for the more in real life events, and being able to do at these events and show up at these events and interact with people. That's kind of where I've been able to kind of build off of, because then they're obviously also sharing word of mouth. So it's like all these different areas of how it's been. But I definitely think that the aspect of creating the content, staying within the same realm of what it is, talking sandwiches, being about sandwiches, whether it's about the merchandise, the behind the story, behind the scenes, all those different elements, I think when it comes to the marketing aspect of it is how I've kind of been able to spread it.
I would assume that it's about being consistent over being viral.
Correct. It's a quality over quantity, but I will say that definitely, like, don't get in your head, because it's you know, obviously nothing's ever perfect. So just keep being consistent, putting stuff out there, keep the message consistent, see what works, and then kind of be able to rotate from there. You may see behind me my little puppet, my Biggie bread puppet. I've done Biggie bread puppet, like sandwich jokes. I've done sandwich facts videos. I've done behind the sandwich videos on like talking about my shirts. Like these are all things that I've done that I obviously have to follow and then go back again and recreate and redo again, because like you as a creative probably know, when you come up with something and you do something, you forget and you're like, I already did this. I don't want to do this again. But we forget that in social media world, like only a fraction is seeing your stuff. You have to kind of keep regurgitating it 5 or 6 times sometimes. And I forget, or I don't want to.
And it's always good to reshare like every couple of months some older posts. Like I forget. I'll even look back at some of my old work. I was like, oh wow, I forgot about that. And the sandwich puppet, the Biggie's puppet, you gotta bring that back. Yeah, I forgot about that. And that was
Biggie bread is awesome, and I do have to bring it back.
It was so silly, bad dad jokes, but it was like
dad jokes, and my wife and daughter hate the voice. That's one of the reasons why it's not fully back, but I did a lot of batch recording.
I did like the voice. It was silly. It was like, it was fun, especially with people loving dad jokes. You probably, that alone might go viral because of that.
Yeah. We'll see.
But again, it's not important about going viral unless the viral videos or the content actually has some sort of return on investment.
Correct. That's the key. And I've learned, by the way, that not every time it goes viral, it works for you, because let's just say I've had a celebrity wear my stuff.
Yeah.
And the celebrity the pictures went crazy, but it never led to sales. It just was everyone was gawking at the picture and the model and the person wearing it.
Yes. That person, I believe, was on a hit show back in the early 90s.
Yes.
So, you could always look up what meets the world, and there was a hint right there. But sometimes you take a loss on what you think is a great idea, right? So what's an example that you would say that's like the product that you believed in 100% and it just didn't move?
I got one right off the bat. So I live in Orlando.
Okay.
And obviously, who lives in Orlando? The mouse. And so Disney is a huge thing. And I had this idea. My brain was like, okay, who is sandwich themed? Like, what can I do Disney sandwich that's stays within the realm of being, and I will just say this. The shirt's coming back. I'm just going to change the color of it, and I'm going to bring it back because, damn it, I'm just ahead of myself. But the shirt it was called Anna's Sandwiches, and sometimes I come up with like make-believe sandwich shops, and this is what the shirt would look like if it was a make-believe sandwich shop. So it literally says Anna's Sandwiches on the front pocket, and on the back it had like a little cottage that looked like Arendelle, and it says, so good you'll finish each other's sandwiches, never frozen, always fresh. It was like, it hit. I even had a designer that like actually worked on stuff very magical. And I was like, this freaking hits. Yeah, dude, it did not hit at all. I don't know. I did it like a light blue shirt with like a dark ink. So it was like a one color shirt. It was like a one color print, but it was like the color of the shirt. I think the color of the shirt was the killer of it. Like, it just did not. I even did a photo shoot at Epcot and went into that area to take pictures. I mean, it was legit good, man. And it did not sell. Some of my Disney friends like that wear it, they like love it. They still wear it to the park, but it did not. It was like one of those where I was just a total flop, where I was like, what did I do wrong? And I either didn't market it properly, or I don't know what I did. It just did not. And it just was a stinker.
Interesting. I wonder why. It could also have been maybe because it was just a one color. Maybe if you added more color.
It could have been the one color.
I mean,
do think the color of the shirt, because I do think the color of the shirt plays a factor in a lot of these things.
That's true.
Like a lot of people don't wear a powder blue or a light blue shirt, but I did it because that's what that was Anna's color scheme. So I think if I did it, I may flip it, do like a heather gray, and then do like a darker, like a blue, like a lighter, like a kind of like a mix of a blue or a light blue. So it kind of still pops on the gray, but at least it looks kind of, I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But
also just because I'm thinking production wise, design wise, you have to be careful when you flip the design from dark color on a light color shirt to a dark color shirt with a light color graphic. When you're just flipping that and doing that inverse, it's gonna look weird. You're gonna kind of have to rechange the colors.
Around. Either around that, or do like a darker, keep the darker color on a gray shirt type of thing.
You have to go keep it dark on like another kind of neutral kind of color, so it would be like a
heather gray in a navy blue.
That would work, unless you're gonna go like tonal, like say you do a dark brown on a brown shirt to where it still pops.
Brown's one of those that does not. No one likes brown, because I did a PB&J shirt, Argyle shirt. Yeah, no one enjoyed that one.
It was just an example. It was just
I know, thinking, but I've done it. That's the problem. Like, I've done some of these. Like, that's the part that those are the hard ones. That's a hard one. Another one is when people tell you like, oh my God, you need to do this. Like Pittsburgh fans, I have issues with Pittsburgh fans. You know how many times Pittsburgh Steeler fans told me like, oh my God, you should make a Pittsburgh shirt. You should make a Pittsburgh shirt. So I literally did a Pittsburgh shirt. I did a Pittsburgh. It was called Sandwich Factory is what it was called. Steel City Sandwich Factory is what it was called. And it literally was black with gold. I had a Pittsburgh designer design it like with me, had Jeet Jet, because like, I don't even know. I even had like the stars. Like, I literally had so many little Easter eggs, and I had beams that looked like French fries because I couldn't do Primanti Brothers. So I had like beams in the building. I mean, it was a good design. Yeah. Again, like, it was like the people bought it. They bought it because it was on sale. But all the Pittsburgh people were like, hey, where's your Pittsburgh shirt? I'm like, it's on my sales side of my page. Feel free to buy. I'm like,
Yeah, so
I want it gone, please.
it's tough when you get people, hey, you should do this, you should print this, and like
Everyone's got an idea.
everyone has an idea, everyone has a thought, but are they really gonna buy? Like, I could give you 3 designs off the top of my head. Are they gonna sell? Are you gonna do it? Like, am I gonna buy it? Like, people are funny that way.
Dude, I had a woman tell me, "Hey, if you make I have a beef on weck shirt for Buffalo." And she's like, "If you make a beef on weck pin, I'm going to buy." She goes, "I will buy at least 20 of them." And I said, "You sure?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay." So I grabbed the design, I put a buffalo as the logo, and it said like, so it's the enamel pin is a buffalo
Mhm.
with the same design on it, but it's in the shape of a buffalo. Guess what? That woman never bought it. But it's okay. Never bought it. Never even came back. She used to come at me every single time and ask me.
Yeah.
She did it for like 3 months. And I said, "Okay, I ordered it. We're good. Let's go." Never. She did ghosted, which is fine because I like it because I have a bunch of sports enamel pins or anyhow. So it just kind of fits within the realm of it. If anything, I should make it a sticker. It'll probably sell just as well as the pins still sell. So I'm okay with her. But I just still think it's funny because you always have someone that's going to be like, "Oh my God, I'd totally buy all of them. I'd buy like 20 of them. Tell all my friends about it." Not happening, bro.
So obviously, I've experienced selling and vending, so I have the same experience. One thing on the other side is me buying. I remember going to some event. It was this art type of event. I, for whatever reason, didn't have the cash on me when people were still taking cash. I was like, oh my God. But my friend was not too far away. And I told the person, hey, if you're only taking cash, I'll be right back. I'm going to get this. I will be right back. And to me, being as a vendor, I know that person's not coming back. They're saying it, they're not coming back. But so I went to my buddy. I was like, hey, I don't have the cash at the moment. I'll
Spot me
PayPal
some
you,
money.
whatever. Okay, spot me. I'll hook you up afterwards. He gives it to me, comes back. I go back, or I might have been like a couple dollars short. And I was just like, I didn't hit whatever. But I come back and I'm like, and she was like surprised. I was like, I told you I was going to come back. Like I meant it when I said I'll be back. Like I'm not one of those other people that say like I'll be back and never show up. She was pleasantly surprised. Just so you know, I was like, I know the routine. I know how people say things and they don't really mean it.
It happens, man. It happens. You
Dude, it always
basically get it
happens.
all the time.
You said that in a previous conversation, the brands need to show more of the realities. The big brands, I understand they rarely do, if they even do. And if they do it, it's usually because they're correcting a mistake. What makes you think that smaller brands should be able to show both sides of the coin?
I think the reason I think that small brands need to do it more, I think one, we're at a point now, and especially in social media, people want to be part of it or at least feel like they're part of the situation. And
Okay.
I also think that there is I always love the pictures of like Instagram versus reality, and like you kind of show like, especially like we'll use modeling, like Instagram people modeling in certain angles and shapes, and then all of a sudden they're like, this is what I really look like. Like I feel like there's like a loss there, and I think it's very difficult, and it's very easy to get like entranced by this idea of it,
Absolutely.
because I look at brands, and yes, like it's hard. It's hard when you start looking at other brands and they're like they're showing like, I don't know, like they're showing their printer, their digital printer, thermal printer, just printing constant like orders coming in, and you're like, dude, I don't like, and then you start having like, oh my, you start kind of comparing them, and even though it could just be like freaking just for show, like it's just a show, it's like, but they're doing it to kind of look like, hey, this is like, look at this, like how crazy it is that I'm doing, and maybe they're not, but it's like that. I get it. Fake it till you make it. I understand that concept, but there is a reality to it of there is a certain level of difficulty to what's going on as a small brand. Things that you're actually dealing with, the messiness of your office, of what it looks like, the layout of what your place looks like. Those are all things that I think people appreciate being able to see it. I'm not saying for you to go and complain and be like, I got only 3 sales this month. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the realities of it, I think, are so important for people to be able to see, because I think they also appreciate it, that you're being real versus everything's awesome. Like everything's amazing. Look how many orders I packed up, and like, oh my God, I'm like going on my fourth rolling bin to the mail, like the mail. Like, and it's not, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that there's like a certain something missing with it. I know I appreciate, especially as an owner and as a brand owner, seeing people's realities of like, hey, this is me working. This is me doing what it does. This is how much time. That's the reason why I started doing like a lot of capturings of like the motions of like, and I sometimes would joke saying, yes, like, I don't know, like I did like a market during the holidays and I was literally having to do mystery bags and I like videotaped myself. I like showing those things because it shows, hey, it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. And I think a lot of times people forget that because they think of, oh, you're Amazon online order. It's like Amazon, or, oh, it's like McDonald's. And it's not when you're a restaurant or a food truck or a pop-up or a small business. Like, it's a lot of manual work going into it. If you're screen printing it, the design work aspect of it, all these things are all of it. It's content. But I think all of it is also something that's being missed by people not seeing or understanding it. It's amazing how McDonald's can be crappy and you still will go back because they're consistent. But like if you go to a restaurant or a food truck or something and you have one bad experience, that's it, dude. You're done with them. Like there's a very low threshold of there's no empathy, and there's like compared to like when you're dealing with a larger company to a smaller company, and that's tough.
That is tough. So I mean, it's that one hit. I remember there was a taco shop by me, haven't eaten there in years because of one experience of like there was food poisoning. I was like, everybody knows how that goes, but it's just like
Yeah.
all of a sudden you get the bravery to try it again, and it actually was consistent. So it was like that whatever it was at that moment, it was just like bad, but everything it's like it's a go-to, and so pretty much you're saying in a sense that the transparency helps build a community between you and the customer or the fan. Or
Yeah.
the person you
I
want to
mean,
call
at
it.
the end of the
That's
day,
what it
you
is.
want your fans to become your customers. That is exactly it. I think there is a certain level, if you can create a connection of showing what it is, people then appreciate, and they're the ones that are going to go to bat. They're going to cheer for you. They're the ones that are going to spread the word because they're like, hey, check out this person. Check out all the work he's doing. Look how cool this is. And then like the word of mouth starts growing from there. And I think that's something that is just kind of like, yeah, it's great. I want everyone to succeed. I want to see the successes. Like I want you to be, yeah, like I filled all these bins, phenomenal. But I also want you to show the other flip side of it of like, this is all the work. This is me packing by myself because you guys blew me up and I'm by myself now packing 40 orders by myself and I had to ask my parents or something like that. I think people appreciate those things. I think people see those things, at least for me, they do. And I just feel like I'm just kind of tired of the constant, like, I don't know, like I'm on a yacht and I'm this and that and whatever. Like I just kind of want, just be a little more real and be transparent on what's happening.
Yeah, I think again, it's about being authentic. The authenticity is super important nowadays with, again, social media has transitioned from, hey, look what I had for lunch to, this super perfect reality. You have to keep things in perspective. I think that's a good way of doing that. And then we touched on it earlier how you try to keep Deli Fresh, no pun intended, but it is fresh. And you're always coming up with different ideas, have probably notebooks and ideas coming in your head all the time, flying in and out. You probably see them see the numbers and the pricing and the designs and the sandwiches like people see in the movies. But now you've done all the nostalgia stuff, done the cartoony stuff, and you're kind of switching to something a little bit different. You're trying to keep it, another pun, not go stale by pivoting to more sport design related graphics. What makes you just expand stylistically? Like that's different from like doing a sports team logo and flipping it to whatever sandwich, a Cuban sandwich or whatever.
Yeah. A lot of it is because of the fact that since obviously I'm not the designer of these things. I come up with them and I work with designers. So like obviously my vision is how I see these things. And I also think it's like the fact of like what I mentioned before, like sandwiches can be different. And just like there's different types of sandwiches, there's different types of designs. And I kind of thought to myself, like, yes, my Sandwich City series is phenomenal in the sense that people love their cities and the sandwiches that go with the cities. Like my pastrami on rye, phenomenal.
Yeah, the choreographics.
Yeah, like it's fun. It's a fun sports graphic. Everyone loves to see their team. Like I tell people, your team can suck, but guess what? My sandwich shirt is undefeated because it tastes better and it's never losing because you could still support your team and wear the shirt of the sandwich you like and you're winning. But At the same time, I've created now a sandwich universe where I basically have now have all these characters and all these different things that kind of all kind of blend together. Some of it's like cartoony, some of it's, and all those things. And what I thought to myself is like, how cool would it be to start doing like a sports series where it's like I'm either creating things, and as you're kind of looking and like kind of showing off, like I wanted to do like, what wouldn't it be fun to do like if in real life, like these things were actually real, like teams or real sporting things. So I'm like now starting to look into what would be something fun. Like if I were to do, if it was like a racing, Deli Fresh racing, what would that look like? What would a minor league baseball team look like? What would a soccer team look like? A professional soccer team look like? Things like that, where it's like within my world, not really I'm not parodying anything. It's like literally like this is the concept that I'm thinking of, the names, and I just think it's something fun to do. I just like to me, it's something that I would wear. I just think it's something that also I love the idea that people are starting to understand and realize that, especially like I love the fact like on the design. So Joe designed this wonderful tee, which I appreciated. And one of the things that he did a very good job on is there's always like sponsors. And he basically looked and found a variety of different sponsors of different shirts that I've come up with, because that's something that I've now realized that people are realizing with me is they think a lot of these places are real. Like they think Bigfoot Subs is real. They think Lucky Deli is real. They're not real. They're make-believe places that I've come up with that I've now I like creating sandwich shirts, and I've created this universe of like literally a bunch of fake restaurants and places. And so because of it, I think that kind of, it adds to like this whole mystique of it, but it also is like, it changes and it goes to like, it hits like a totally different person now, because now other people are going to be like, oh, this is kind of cool. Is this real? Not real? I don't know. It looks cool. I like it.
And what I see from it is that you're expanding your universe. Now this is your IP. It's your IP. You're not parodying anybody. You're not doing a logo flip. To some extent, there is a ceiling for doing parody designs. And this was all original creative designs. You'll find out money-wise if it's worth to continue doing. That's
correct.
That's the risk you're taking. The grand scheme of things, like I said, all these Biggie's Deli, all that I've for the designs, I've took what you did before and like try to create something original. So it looks like these are actual brands. It's a little different from the actual graphic, but if you see it and you go through your catalog, if someone's going through your catalog online, they'll be like, oh, that's that. Oh, cool. Hopefully there's a byproduct effect of there's an effect of people, I want that, and that adds more to it. The graphic was fun to make. I did enjoy it.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
It fits good. The colors came out really good. The printing was fantastic. I'm always concerned with how it prints out. Like it just makes sure, because certain things are super detailed, and obviously I have a ton of experience creating, designing t-shirts and apparel and all that. So I know the ins and out, and I've color separated for production, which just means that I prepared it for the printer. Doesn't necessarily mean the printer uses it. It was kind of like, it was just a nice thing to do, because usually the printers usually take care of that on their own. They know what they're doing, and if they need to, they do it. But I provided that as well. And it was just good to see the colors, the color choices. I do have a Pantone book. It's good to be able to match all the colors, because screen printing is very different compared to like any other kind of printing, which I know you've probably experienced them from KnightMare Apparel, doing all the college shirts. You didn't realize you probably could. I mean, it was probably a one color graphic, but still, when you're getting into the thick of things,
my most popular shirt was way, I don't even know how it got approved. All the other colleges approved it, because I had one where it was like it said, what time is it, and it says time to get medieval, and it had our mascot were the knights, literally choking an ibis, which was like kneeling on a gator, and there was like a Florida State tombstone, and that must have been like at least six colors, but I didn't care because the graphic was amazing. There was like lightning. Like to this day, people still ask me, they're like, where's the design for that? Can we remake it? And the hard part for me is I don't know where the design is, because I'm like, I think the printer, because I literally used at the time the printer that was doing the collegiate licensing was also the designer. And so I don't know if we ever got it, but I tried finding it and I couldn't find it in any old emails or anything. It's one of those where like, when you're dealing with stuff like that and printed, I mean, so many colors and everything, like the last thing you want to do is wear like where it feels like you're like literally
feels
just
heavy.
wearing ink.
It's a nice color choice. The printer did a good job. I like it. The shirt fits fine. Yeah, I mean, I put it on. I was like, ooh, I like it. I like the shirt. It stands out. It looks good when you're wearing it. So for
Yeah,
those who
I'd
are
be
interested,
curious to see because like I just did a photo shoot for it. It
mhm.
hasn't been released yet. I'm gonna start being. I'm basically. You may have seen how I sign it. I have it. I like signing it where every sandwich looks like it's like from like how you would order it if you were ordering it at a sandwich
Yep.
shop. So stuff like that. So I created my own little character for who the driver is, and the driver's name is what is going to be with the number. And same thing when I did a Spider Bread T-shirt. I did the combo number 5 because that's the sandwich that he orders in Spider-Man. Squish real flat, number 5, squish with flat, extra pickles. I think it's a Cuban sandwich. That's my theory on it. But he did not respond when I asked Spider-Man. He did not tell me what it was. He just told me it was a number 5.
He was too busy, saving New
Saving
York.
the neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's awesome.
I want people to create things to actually be able to experience it because I think they understand it. And I also, what better thing to wear something that you've created? I know many designers that don't go that route. I also know many designers that create things for other brands and no one ever knows that they created it. And that's one of the reasons why when I have stuff on my website, I basically tell people like, hey, this is who designed it.
So
Because again, all freelancer to me, I look at designers as chefs who are also small businesses. And I want people, if they like them, I tell a lot of people when people come to me and go, hey, who did this for you? I'd be like, well, go check my website. You could see who designed it and reach out to them because I want more people to give you business. I want you to I want everyone to make money.
and I applaud you for that. And it's good to chop it up. That's one thing I know designers, artists, whatever, there's an ego to it. Obviously, you have to set it to the side plenty of times, but it all does feel good. So, like when I've ever had stuff, I would try to share, hey, here's the catalog for your work in, or here's that you helped me produce, or collecting stuff like, hey, can I get a copy of that for myself? I enjoy it because it's part of like, hey, I was able to create this in the world. It's been fun. It's awesome. I'm very appreciative you sent one over to me, and it's pretty cool that it's even cooler that you even include who designed it on your website, because I've noticed that because I've clearly
Yeah, you purchased it.
got
And I appreciate, and I think it's so important, man. Like, I don't know. I get it. Like, I get it when you're a large brand, you don't want to show who the people are, especially, but I mean, in my world, like, I don't have in-house designers. So it's not like
yeah.
you work for, like, you know what I mean? Like, I basically reach out to different people. And so because of that, I just think, what better way to tell anyone, hey, this is who made the design, this is what it's about, and if I can get you more work, guess what, that probably means you're going to want to work with me more because you know that I'm going to be showing you the love when it comes to it. And I think that's kind of how I just always looked at it, just because it's sometimes think it could be a thankless it's like a thankless job sometimes. Like you do it and then they're like, okay, yeah, it's my design, and I'm like, yeah, but it's really like, I don't know, I don't know, I just look at it, I've always looked at it that way, and that's why from the very beginning I've always been that way, where I'm always going to tell who designed it, just because I think the designer deserves the credit, because even though it is my ideas, it's your art. You're basically came up with, like, I'm like, this is what I wanted to do, but together we came up with this.
Yeah, there's a
Is how I look at
collaboration.
it.
It's a partnership between the two of us. We want you, again, just we want you to do well, because then that could help us in the end be hired again, or just we want you to do well because, hey, it's our stuff and we want to create something awesome and put it out to as many people as possible. It's also part community building in a sense that you're like, hey, we create things like, I want to be cool with you. Like, I'm sure that some of the people that you hired, you're friends with. And matter of fact, I know that.
I am. I am. I'm friends with a lot of these designers, and a lot of these designers, and it's also, what's interesting to me is I've also gotten a chance to work with a lot of designers that I never thought I would have been able to work with or probably could actually afford. But because of the fact that they appreciate what my brand is, what I do, how I am, they're willing to work with me, or because they want to work with me, which I think to me is a huge honor, that they want to work with my brand, because and I get it. As a designer, it's very similar to what I do, in the sense of like my day-to-day job is like, you can work in the corporate world designing, and you're like, well, I want to do something fun. Like I'm tired of doing like the whatever. And so like, this is a fun idea, and this is a separation, and this is something I want to do, or I want to, and I think to me that I appreciate those things, because and it values a lot to me. And that's also the reason why I kind of spread it around, because I don't always want to go to the same, the same designer all the time if I can, because it just kind of makes it, it also gives a little variety of what it is. And some of my ideas are all over the place, and one designer's good at this and one other designer's good at that. And I just kind of like mixing it up.
And so what I gather from that is that, hey, that's great. You're being able to share a whole bunch of people with that may not have known about it. And I think I've had fun working on this. Like, was a fun project. I was excited to work on this, and because it was different. The brand is a fun and refreshing, brand compared to other companies. Regarding the different designers, there is the risk of it not being brand consistent. So that's the only part where it's like, that's a risk. If you pick a different designer and it's like, they do this, but like, how are they going to make sure they stay in the guidelines? I knew that no matter what we did or what you thought of, I was like, I could definitely stick in the guidelines and no problem. I mean, and most designers, if they're worth their salt, they could do that. So
You would hope
it's
so. I mean, and I get it. Like some
That's true.
designers also, I also understand some designers, you hire them because that's what they're known for. So this is what how they do. And so sometimes there is that's got to be a struggle to have that conversation. Like, again, there's some designs where I've done that I thought, again, that I was like, this is a great design, I want to do this. And then I kind of was like, maybe I'll hold off on it, or maybe it's not the time to release it. And I've kind of had to pay it and swallow it and keep it and use it. And like, maybe I'll put it as a sticker and I won't make it a shirt yet. And like, it's just one of those things sometimes where you can kind of, it just, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And you just kind of have to play that game.
So do you still have designs in your design file where you haven't released it yet? Yeah, I mean, that is the risk of when you're creating apparel.
That is the hard part, when you're the one coming up with ideas. And if you start going, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then you start going and you're doing it. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm like, is this going to work? Does this fit? Should I be releasing this? Do I want to spend the money? Because I mean, it's not like you're just like, hey, putting it out there and it's Printify DTG. It's like screen printed. So you're buying blanks and you're getting stuff made. And then you got like, I mean, if you can see behind me, like there's some, that's just one. Like those are only two of like, I don't know. I have like literally an entire wall, front, this side and the side behind, that are all full of shirts that are folded, waiting to be sold.
So I want to ask you something before we wrap up, but you take, being a small brand, things change it up, right? Like you have to think differently. Usually clothing brands, doesn't matter if you're a t-shirt brand or not, they do things seasonal. So you have a seasonal collection, fall, winter, or holiday, or spring, summer, right? You do it like, you do a shirt every once in a while, every couple of months, maybe a couple together as a sort of a collection. Is there thinking behind that aside from like budget? Because I feel like part of that is budget thing.
It's kind of like a mix. And that's the part where I've like tried to get better at it. So last year I did do themed releases. Last year I did like a nautical release during the summer. I had 3 shirts that were nautical themed. And then for October, like around for Halloween, I had another release that was more of a Halloween release.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
So, and I did that because I wanted to see what it would do or how it would do. Typically, I try to, and I thought to myself that that's kind of the same idea that I wanted to follow. I had themes that I wanted for the next 4 every quarter. Every quarter, I try to release a few shirts.
Okay.
But sometimes I've also learned that there's flexibility when you're dealing with different artists and you're dealing with different things. Some things may take longer to produce or come up with than others. So because of it, I've just become more flexible with it. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that part out. I do like the themed ideas coming out as a series. But I also know that it does help to have a little variety where maybe you're releasing 2 or 3 shirts and they're all kind of a little bit just different, because then it opens up the aperture a little bit where maybe that series didn't hit. And, if you did a whole collection and it doesn't hit because you're like, hey, I'm not really a nautical guy. I'm not really into manatees or whatever, guys with tridents. I'm not, things like that. And I get it. And so I've kind of mixed it up. So this release, like for this one, my goal is to do a sports theme. So I probably may, instead of it being a collection, maybe a release where it's like it'll come out first, it'll come out like, you know, one quarter, and then the next quarter maybe another design once it's done. And I maybe do it throughout the course of the year. It's like a release of a new team or sports type team, as well as the other collection. So instead of it being a collection, I may do 4 different designs, and it may actually is like themed, and you'll have 4 of the same kind of themes, like 4 different themes going every quarter across the course of the year is kind of where I'm at right now, because I currently have like a cartoony vintage idea. I have this sports one, and then I have 2 other ones that I'm releasing that are just kind of came to my head, and I was like, hey, I want to do, and they're like, one's like a food truck, like make believe food truck. Another one is more of like just a fun concept. And I'm doing the same thing again with like the next batch. It's like I'll have a sports team on my next one. When I start, you know, as I'm wrapping up, I'll have another vintagey or make believe sandwich shop type place. I'll have another kind of fun sandwich one, and then I'll probably have a cartoony one, is kind of the idea. Is kind of what I'm playing with right now.
Do you have it laid out in a strategy?
I have it laid out in a strategy. However, I don't have it laid out. And that's the hard part, because sometimes when you're dealing with it's like, it's a mixture of, obviously you can't keep spending money. You got to make money. So like,
Absolutely.
and then there's also, and I also live in Florida. So as like, and then as the months get closer, each month gets hotter, and it also gets rainier. So like now I'm actually strategically looking at trying to sell at indoor markets, which there isn't. You would think there'd be a huge influx of indoor markets, but there's not as many unless you're doing like a mega con or something like that.
Got it.
So I'm looking at things like that. Like those are some of the things I'm now looking at as I go. Like every year I try to figure out how can I either go somewhere else to sell that's not just in Orlando. And then I also look at where else can I sell indoors? Can I sell outdoors? Can I do my own little pop-up inside a sandwich shop, which is kind of one of the things I'm looking at. Like how can I create other ways of getting myself out there selling, and at the same time, you know, be able to sell? Because the more I sell, the more I can then create from there. Is how I look at it. The more I sell, the more then I'm like, okay, let's make more product. Let's do more of this.
So have you thought about other conventions, like traveling elsewhere outside of Florida?
I have thought of it. I have thought of doing more conventions, of doing foodie conventions. I'm trying to look into that. I'm right now looking at, I basically do have a goal of, it won't be this year, but my goal for 2027 will be to either probably sell at a MegaCon, which is like the Orlando comic book convention in Orlando. I'm going this year, so I can kind of look to see what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. And I may try to do some smaller venues, or smaller, like, you know, Comic-Con. I just think my stuff is parody enough where it's like, it's different enough where it'll catch enough people's attention, because I'm not what everyone else is doing, and it's still kind of pop culture-y that I think people will be like, "Ooh, I like this. I want to buy this."
Absolutely. I think especially those conventions, Comic Cons and stuff like that, there's it's a mixture of things. So you'll be able to, especially with your pop culture, your Hulk design,
Yes.
incredible hangry stuff like. I think
Yes.
a lot of that would work well. Because your pop culture, your parodies, it's all based around the sandwiches. It still works. You are on brand, my friend.
Correct.
But
Correct.
so I think whatever you do, wherever you take it, people are gonna at least give you the double take. What?
That's what I want.
They'll absolutely do that, and then hopefully you'll head over, and then, you know, with your personality, you'll be able to sway them into buying a whole bunch of them.
Hopefully.
All right, Biggie. Now it's time where part of the segment where I like to do rapid fire.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Most underrated sandwich ingredient.
Bread.
Wait, what? What?
It's underrated. Bread is underrated.
Bread.
Yeah, I think it's underrated. I don't think enough people pay attention to it, like, sometimes. I
What?
think you
Really?
need without a good bread. I mean, that is I do think, I mean, if you want like a meat or some form of protein on it, I will say, if you want that, I will say, if not, I will say pickled cabbage would be an underrated thing, or
Ooh, you know what?
shredded slaw.
Oh yeah, but they're tasty. You're
I
right.
like the idea of the the pickled slaw though. I think pickled slaw is underrated. I know that because we use it on our Biggie bread, Biggie's Banh Mi. I think it adds a little bit of crunch, a little more crunch. It holds up a little bit better. It doesn't get as wilty as you would for like a lettuce, and it also kind of provides a little bit of a little crunch. And if you do it right with like a pickled version of it, you get a little bit of that acidity for it.
I'm still blown away by the bread part. It's just
the bread, man. I just think that bread gets. I think bread is underrated because that is the foundation. That's the reason why my mascot's a piece of bread, because it is the foundation to a good sandwich.
Fair enough. What? I gotta ask.
Sorry, I messed up your rapid fire.
No, because some of these rapid fires, I will let them go deeper if we found a nugget. But it's first about like quick thought. What's your favorite curse word?
Or get upset when I'm upset because if I curse in Spanish, I'm upset. I don't know why. Because English is my first language. But if I curse in Spanish, like my family, my wife and daughter are like, yeah, like, oh yeah, someone's in trouble.
When you're creative working, do you like to work in the morning or at night?
I want to say creative. So it's a mix. I say I'm more of a morning person. So my brain, I'll say I'm a morning. It's going to be more morning because ideas come, and like, especially now that I'm older, it's horrible. But if I go to the bathroom at 3:00 in the morning and my brain turns on, then I'm going all over the place, and I'm either leaving voice messages to myself or trying to text or writing things down. But I also at the same time will say I tend to have I have a pretty decent healthy sleep habit. But like sometimes when you get excited and you're working on things and you can't get it out, or like, you just keep going and needed to do, I will go into like the midnights, 1:00 in the morning type thing. But typically it's the morning is usually kind of like, or early morning, like, because I'm like, my brain somehow will turn on and then my brain just starts kind of going.
But yeah, I got that message from you at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I apologize. I forget sometimes that people don't. I know it was a DM versus a text, but I realize that later. I'm like, yeah, I should have waited. So, and I realize that you can send it, you can schedule it, but I just forget to.
It doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. But I forget how bad it was. I remember one time I was speaking with somebody, maybe we've gone a date or two, whatever. We were texting, fell asleep. I woke up at like 3 a.m. I saw the text because my phone was like right next to me for whatever reason. I responded and I went back to bed. And I found out later on, I got a message from somebody else like, do you text her at 3 a.m. in the morning? I was like, yeah, I texted her. I answered the question. I went back to sleep. Like, I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was weird. But looking back at it, I'm like, yeah, that's wait till the morning. Wait till everybody's up. So it's not weird. So when you're having a sandwich, what is your drink of choice?
I think it depends on the sandwich.
Okay.
Sometimes it could be a soda. It could be a beer, depending on what it is. Recently, I went to this it's like a food truck. It's called a la carte. It's like a food truck bar, so kind of thing. So there's like 8 food trucks that are like permanently there, and there's like a bar there. And I had like their cheesesteak, and I had a beer with it because I thought it'd be perfect to go with it. So a lot of times it could be that, but I drink a lot of water, or it'll be like I don't know, like an Arnold Palmer, like an iced tea or something like that,
nice,
like one of those.
Nice.
I do like a little Arnold Palmer action on that. Sometimes a soda, but not too often. It's usually water or something like that. It's not. I don't know. It just kind of depends. To me, it's not like pizza. Like, how sometimes pizza, everyone's like, ooh, beer and pizza. And like, I don't know. It just kind of depends on the sandwich, on what you're having.
For me, like if I have a good burger, it's either, for some reason, this one burger by this bar, it's a burger and a Coke, or a burger and a beer. And I am not a beer guy at all. That is not my lane. I don't like it, but I'll have a McSorley's and a hamburger, and it just fits.
We don't have to have this conversation because it goes long and winded. And to be honest with you, I don't know if anyone wins. It's kind of like, but my question is, do you consider a burger a sandwich?
I was literally going to ask you that because I was going to segue into that.
I can answer what I'm just kind of curious, and then I'll answer what I think it is.
Because I was curious about that because I wasn't sure about it. So I wanted to hear your answer first because I didn't think of it as a sandwich, but now it hits the criteria. But if I don't know if I would consider it a sandwich.
It's funny. So I'm friends with this guy called Burger Beast, who he's obsessed with burgers. And he obviously says that the burger is a sandwich. What I say a burger is, I think of a burger as the cousin of a sandwich. That is
Okay.
why the patty melt is the love child of a burger and a sandwich. It is in the family of like the handheld sandwich, like world family, where yes, bread, meat, all those things, But to me, I just kind of think to myself, and a lot of times it's just really something as minuscule as when you tell someone you're hungry for a sandwich, you never tell someone I'm hungry for a sandwich and you get a burger. You tell people
Yeah.
I'm hungry for a burger.
Burger.
I'm hungry for a hot dog. They don't ever say I'm hungry for a sandwich. And then you get a burger, maybe get a chicken burger or a chicken sandwich, but you don't actually get, like, usually when you say you want, like, and at least that's kind of how I've always looked at it, where it's like when I think of a sandwich, I think of like a hoagie, a PB&J, something like that. I never say to myself, ooh, I want a sandwich, I'm going to get a burger. I just don't. It's always, I want a burger. I want pizza. I want this handheld food. I want tacos. Like, I don't, like, even when you say I want tacos, you don't say I want burrito or I want Mexican. Is what you say.
I could go for a burrito.
Yeah.
It depends. I mean, I want tacos, but they're all separate.
They're all handheld, man. They're all handheld. The best of the best, handheld.
Yeah. Okay, so they all fit in that same world. Okay.
Yeah, they all fit in that world. I'm never going to have, I really don't know if I'll never say never, because I said I'd never have a hot dog on a shirt, and I do have a hot dog on a shirt because I have a hot dog and a sandwich, high-fiving, saying it's okay to be different. Both are delicious, and that's my Deli Fresh Threads, PSA is what I call it, because I wanted, I think
but
of it
it's true
as that
on so many levels.
It is, because it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to, you could call whatever it is and whatever. If you want to call it a hot dog, a sandwich, great. Call it a sandwich. I'm not going to call it a sandwich. I think of a hot dog. If I want a hot dog sandwich, it's a bologna sandwich. That's what to me is a hot dog sandwich.
Open your mind. Open your
I got to be more open-minded. I gotta be more. Trust me, I have so many friends that that's all their trigger. They just send me anything hot dog related. They send me, and I was like, dude, I love hot dogs. I'm like, I go to Costco and get a hot dog every time. I go to IKEA, get a hot dog every time. I'm like, I'm not gonna say no to a hot dog. I just never gonna say, ooh, I want a sandwich and get a hot dog. Just never gonna happen.
But I mean, there's been cases when you don't have the bun, but you have the hot dog.
Yes, and you butterfly the hot dog, and you cook it on both sides, and you put it on toast, and you eat it like a sandwich. Yes, totally. I totally have done that.
Okay.
I've done that. I've even grabbed the bread and I folded it so it looks like a taco bread or like a one-hander. I've done that too. I've done all of those. Same thing, but at the same time, I'm like, I still think of it a hot dog. A hot dog, even without the bread, is still a hot dog, right? I mean, at least to me, that's what it is. I still call it a hot dog. Same thing with a hamburger. Hamburger is still a hamburger. Whether bun, no bun, hamburger, you make it as a burger in a patty form, it's a burger.
Well, here, so since we're talking about rapid fire questions, hamburger, cheeseburger, or turkey burger?
Cheeseburger.
Cheese?
But right now in my house, it would be the fourth one, chicken burger. I do a chicken burger. I buy a big thing of 3 pounds of ground chicken, and I make them into buffalo chicken burgers. So I put like buffalo sauce in it, a little panko, and then what we do is we change it up. So then I have a flat top, and I literally just cook all 12. I make 12 burgers. And then we freeze them. So we'll have them for dinner, and then I freeze them, and then we change the toppings on them. So sometimes we'll do a little feta, or a little, like, we can make it all into different things. So like we have like a feta topping, or we'll do, I'll add some blue cheese, or we'll do like a ranch on top and make it like into like a, buffalo chicken burger. And I'll add a little bit more buffalo sauce to it. So that's usually kind of what we'll do instead of a turkey burger. I'll do a chicken burger.
What's your current favorite sandwich?
I jokingly will tell you whatever's in front of me. Right now, I laughed because last night I told my wife, I sometimes will tell people dealer's choice. So I'll just go and I'll be like, here are my 3 that I'm choosing between, dealer's choice, you pick what it is and I'll eat it. I did that to my wife yesterday, and my wife came, I told her, I said, I like their steak sandwich and I like their chicken parm. So she's like, I'm not messing around. She brought me both. And she just brought me both. So then I was like, even better. I eat half of this one. I took like a quarter of this one, a quarter of this one. And then I had leftovers. I gave some to my daughter. And then I was like, okay, this will be my lunch.
The leftovers are great.
Yeah, leftover sandwiches are good.
And if you're listening to music while you work, what's the music you're listening to?
It depends. Sometimes I'm listening to some kind of like lo-fi, like I'll listen to like lo-fi hip hop or something. Like I don't know why, but my Alexa will play it, and I'll be like, Alexa, play lo-fi hip hop, and it'll just start playing something. Or I find like some lo-fi. I usually will play with that just because it's chill, and I usually have it throughout the course, and it just kind of like allows me to just kind of do. If not, I'll just sometimes on my Spotify, I'll just hit like my liked thing and it'll just play all the liked music. I think you talked about this. That's something I wish Spotify would like then lead me to other things. Even like their DJ or whenever they create playlists, they still kind of create the same. It's not like radio where you're
Yeah,
listening to different music. I wish that was the case. And it's funny because I think you mentioned something about music. Like I do
I did.
sometimes will go down a rabbit hole on YouTube and I'll use YouTube just to play music because that's how I met like I found out about Teddy Swims before Teddy Swims became what he is and stuff like that. Cause I listen to a little bit of everything because my daughter likes music as well. So we're all over the place when it comes to music. So it just kind of depends on my mood. Like if I'm going on a walk, sometimes and lately I've been actually trying to do actually more silence, like no music, just quiet, just because we have so much noise coming. And so sometimes I'm trying to practice like almost like I guess just kind of like a decompression where I'm not getting all the different, like everything
That
coming
makes
at me.
sense.
So
Yeah, just
I don't listen to anything, and I just kind of, which is good and bad because then you get in your head, and then your head starts spinning with stuff, and then I literally will start writing on all different things, and I'll put it on my phone, or I have like a deli wrapping paper on my table that I'll sometimes use like almost like a whiteboard where I'll just start writing ideas, or hey, I need to order more of these, or I need this, and I just kind of just start like kind of like my mind just dump a brain dump on there.
fantastic. Oh yes, that's awesome, man. Yeah,
Hey,
Spotify
I
is
do have, can I ask you one question? So if someone like me were to go to New York, is there a particular like must eat, and I don't know, not a Cat's Deli. I'm talking like, is there a particular sandwich place that you're like, you really should consider eating at this place?
yes. I immediately think of it. The first one too.
What is it?
It's called Joey Rose's. Comedian Joe DeRosa opened up a sandwich shop inside a bar. Those sandwiches are good, and they were like reasonable price, like not New York prices. Like originally they were like $8 per sandwich. I'm like, fantastic. That's a good one. Yeah, Joey Rose's. They have a bunch of like different sandwiches. Joey Rose's bar. It's in the Lower East Side. They have a bunch of good food that I enjoy eating. They used to have. Let me see. I'm just pull it up real quick the menu because it's so reasonable. They have the Fat Kid sandwich, which is peanut butter, grape jelly, ruffled potato chips on top
I
of
like it.
the breads on like, and we're talking about like hero style bread. I like the Dad, which is like you have salami, provolone, tomato. Like it has like almost like a sub.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of them. It's
I love it.
beefy. They have a bunch of the special sandwiches. I think at one point, Saturday Night Live comedian Michael Shea had his own special sandwich after him. Because again, there's always a bunch of New York comedians hanging out because the one guy started
Yeah,
is a comedian. He's also,
yeah,
he's also an actor and appeared on Better Call Saul. It's a good spot. I like it. It's a good spot and
nice.
now the price went up to like $12, but like
Still
$12
fair.
for a sandwich compared
Yeah,
to
dude, it's
a
good.
$20 sandwich. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll
take that
take it.
over all day. Yeah,
Heck
so
yeah.
that one's cool because it's a cool one. Yeah, that's a good spot. If you get a chance, go there. Be cool. It's at a bar, and
Yeah.
who knows who will show up.
It'll be
Yeah,
interesting. I was told I can't eat everywhere I want to eat at, and we're only going for a few days, so I have to make my choice correctly. When we go, but I'll let you know when we do, and I'll let you know if I end up going to one of those.
kind of want one now. I didn't eat lunch, so I'm hungry. All right, awesome. And then one last question: tell the people how great it is to work with me.
It was good. I will say I will be honest with you. I've never worked with a designer that kind of has done it the way you do it. It's very methodical. There is a process, and I do appreciate it. I appreciated listening to the videos of not only being able to visually see it, but also the videos of you talking about what you were trying to do and what it was and the layout, and then doing the mood boards. Definitely very different than what I'm traditionally have done. Usually it's like, hey, I go back and forth, but it was definitely it was a great experience. I definitely enjoyed it. I think it was a lot of fun to be able to see the different stuff. We basically would share it on my TV, and I would have my family kind of like look at it and be like, okay, what mood are you guys thinking? What do you guys think of like the 3 different versions or concepts? And then we kind of went back and forth, and I thought it's very, very systematic, and I think it's great.
Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. Where can the good people on the internet and in the world can find you if they want to connect?
So you can follow me at pretty much look up Deli Fresh Threads. Either be on Instagram. I have some TikTok. I have you'll probably see a larger contingency of YouTube. I basically have been like uploading my old episodes, video episodes now that since I use Riverside and we do videos. For a long time, I was just doing the audio aspect of it, but I'm actually going back into my old podcast episodes and editing those as videos and then uploading those. And so I'm constantly posting like every week. I try to make my podcast episodes kind of similar to this, evergreen. If you're interested, I do talk to a lot of people in Orlando, but I do have a lot of interesting small businesses from everywhere. You can listen to that podcast called Lunch with Biggie. I basically just kind of talk to a bunch of creatives and small business owners that I just find interesting and their brand's interesting, and, kind of get to know them and kind of get advice from them. And lately I've been asking them to manifest things into the universe and things like that, just because I want everyone to, see if we can maybe make one hit. I would love to it's one of those things. So yeah, follow me. If you want to talk sandwiches, I love it. I talk sandwiches anywhere. If you have a city that you're listening to this and you're like, hey, you should do one of these, I'm all about recommendations and writing them down. And we can definitely talk sandwiches and t-shirts. And if you need anything, advice or anything that I could help, just let me know. But yeah, Deli Fresh Threads.
Awesome. And then I am Joe Barron. You can find me at Branded Barron. And don't forget to follow the Instagram account for Market To Me. It's Market To Me. And if you need to hire me for any design work or anything creative, you could check out brandedbarron.com. Thanks again for listening. Bye, everybody.